gonna be in here, there's nobody waiting outside.
Yeah.
Shut that door.
Wait.
She went right back.
Oh, well, she can come in. She just walked through the door. It's not like it's gonna walk.
Well, you never know.
As soon as the door shuts.
Looks like we're gonna be fighting over this son of a gun the whole night. We only got one. There can only be one.
Wouldn't be the first time.
That's why we're not gonna use it. This is a tiny reverse. It is completely unnecessary.
True.
It's merely a formality at this point.
But it sounds so.
All right, so how's everybody doing?
Good. Fantastic.
Wow, that was really energetic.
That's good. Yeah.
First night at Tulsa.
Is this just outside?
Yes.
Yes.
Are you good to go?
Yes.
You got everything.
Except my virginity. If you could track that down for me. I lost it somewhere on a church campsite. It's about 50. I'm sorry.
Seriously gasps? That's unexpected.
Who's all surprised by church? We're good.
I'll be in that room.
Just out of curiosity, is there? I guess no. Screw the mics.
Yeah, the mic is really.
We made that decision and I'm still holding it. So.
I'm gonna hide this.
Wait, sorry.
You're in charge. I can tell when he touches that.
There you go.
All right.
We're good. Thank you very much.
So, do you want me to start or?
You can take it away.
All right. So, by show of hands, who's all here to actually learn something? Who's all here because they have a crush on me?
Because you secretly want to kill him in his sleep.
Who wants to kill me in my sleep? Sorry, you're majority. I think someone's saying, I love you. I want to kill you. All right, so we have two panels in the exact same room, so you can either be in here for 2 hours, we don't care. And what we're going to be covering today is characterization, one of the hardest battles in acting. So who here is thinking about a career in acting at all? Hold your hands up high, man. You all are timid. You're not going to be actors if you're that dang timid.
We're gonna be our own. We're gonna be our own actors.
Sweet.
That's what a home camera does.
Yes, you help me. You what? Oh, just speaking. Oh. Characterization is the development of a character while you're doing a scene, basically becoming supposedly someone else. Now, how many of you have experience in acting at all? Any experience whatsoever? You in the back, you right there, you. How many of you actually had to do a character that was beyond your ability to do?
There's more experience than what I have.
She was reindeer. You? It was, what character was that? Benjamin Franklin. Why was it hard? It's Benjamin Franklin. If you, okay.
Yeah, you don't know personality when you come in.
Actually, he was an asshole.
Really?
I'm not kidding.
Watch Drunk History.
If you watch Drunk History, you can find out all kinds of stuff
And
about.
to find out Hitler was actually a sweetheart.
Yeah, but like, okay, so one of the few things that a lot of actors, they go wrong is they think that becoming a character, becoming a person, is becoming another person. No, what you're doing is you're taking your shell of a human being, your personality, and you're layering on top of it. You will never, ever be able to kill yourself out of a character. A lot of people think, oh, you've got to become the person, you got to start thinking like the person. No, what you do is you take the depths of your personality, like the thing, like for instance, I'm an outspoken person. One of the characters that I really have a tough time playing are like really quiet and withdrawn people that do a lot of stuff with their face and they speak with their face. I'm more, hello, and like all of my characters are really outblown, so that's a difficult thing for me. What?
Oh, hey, smart.
What was that doing? So one of the first things you're going to learn, I'm just going to wait. One of the things first thing you're going to learn is that you cannot kill yourself from a character. Now number two, which Brian will probably expound more upon later, is that it's layering on top of yourself. So basically, it's a backstory. It's why. Why. That's going to be your greatest tool for developing a character is why. Okay, so say you start out, my character is a male. Obviously, I'm not going to play a female unless I'm doing Shakespearean theater. So, I'm a male. Why am I a male? Well, I was born that way. Where were you born? Well, I was born in Kansas. Okay, so that dictates something. That dictates a certain personality. So you're taking your personality and like, okay, how would I behave if I grew up in Kansas? And so you take that, well, why was I born in Kansas? My parents moved here. And that backstory expounds upon itself. And that's how really a character becomes three-dimensional, is making those little subtle things. Sorry, I'm like really stumbling over my words right now. It is 10 at night.
Where's your record?
Sure that's not right.
No. Yeah.
No, the one you did at 2 o'clock in the morning at the Zoom clock, that was more fun.
Oh no. All right, so I thought he was doing something, and I realized he's not. He's just writing.
You want me to write that?
And then the next bullet point is you can do.
First of all, what exactly is a story? Somebody throw that out. Just, yes.
Plot point reaches climax.
Plot point.
Resolution.
Resolution. Resolution is a very, very good point.
That
Because
lock
in
did
order
not
to have
work.
resolution,
No, we didn't lock
I
it.
hate that lock. For instance, in the scenario with the door.
There you go.
Now, the end of the story would be the resolution, which would be to get the door locked. But what's before that? It's called conflict. And conflict is what really creates characters. First of all, you can't really have a character without having a story. And the story is created by conflicts. What's the conflict in Lord of the Rings?
Thank you, that works too.
We have to get rid of that ring because
Super
it's
easy.
really annoying.
Why? Why does he want to get rid of the ring?
Because it's evil.
Because it's evil.
Because it's evil.
Trying to take over
Because
the
it's
world.
a source of power and it's given to this one person. That's his one task. But on the way, he has multiple conflicts, which creates an adventure, which creates a story. And that's the story of Lord of the Rings. Well, without those conflicts, then it's a pretty boring story. Because otherwise, he could just walk up to the volcano and go, "And I'm gone." Screw you, Gollum. So conflict is what creates a story. Conflict is what creates characters. Now, whenever you're creating a character, in our world, we live in the world of improv, so we have to come up with stuff off the fly. So let's talk about that for just a second. When you're dealing with comedy, we'll deal with different genres. You have comedy, you have drama, you have horror. Horror is a pretty obvious conflict. I shouldn't do that tough. But in the world of comedy, we take suggestions from the audience. We say, okay, well, let's say, first of all, we have a setting. We'll say, it's the desert. Okay, well, let's put somebody in the desert. Now, what would be somebody that has a conflict with the desert? Somebody throw it out.
No water.
Gilligan.
A fish? Aquaman. Aquaman is stuck in the desert. Crap! That's a heck of a conflict.
If I wasn't powerless before.
But if somebody was to say, Camel Man, well, the story doesn't really go anywhere, right? If you put Aquaman in the desert, well, now you have a story. If you have Camelback Boy, then that doesn't really go anywhere. So, characterization, you become a writer. That's really what it all comes down to. You become your own creative writer. There's so much creative freedom that you have as an actor whenever you get a part, whenever you're auditioning for a part. You'd be amazed at how much cool stuff you can come up with. Because like he said, backstory creates the character. Conflict creates the future of the character. Does that make sense?
All right, so next bullet point is adding your own personal touch to it. For instance, one of the most defined characters I feel in the history of film is somebody everybody's going to know. It's Heath Ledger's The Joker. Now, one thing that everybody remembers that defined his character and just made it that much deeper and that much more three-dimensional was the tongue thing. Minute in and of itself, correct? Yeah. Not a big thing, but it defined this character because it was one special touch that no other Joker, anybody that's ever tried to portray Joker, had ever done, was that, so, the Batman. And he did that tongue thing over and over and over again. It's something minute, but everybody who's seen that movie, is that the one thing that you remember? If you were trying to do a Joker impression, what do? You start talking like you've got something stuck up your nose, and then you start shaking a little bit, and then you do the tongue thing, and you got it. Why did I just sound like, you gotta be
Like a cigar.
But an impression is actually a cool way. Impressions are a cool way to kind of start practicing touches, because a lot of times when you try to do an impression, especially if you're not good at voice control, nobody gets what you're doing. It's those little mannerisms that you do. Like for instance, Vince Vaughn. Vince Vaughn, you can start talking like him, nobody knows. But if you start doing the, I don't know, I'm from Dodgeball. Like that thing he does with his neck, then you know it's Vince Vaughn. It's those personal touches that make a three-dimensional character. So,
comment on that one.
What's that?
Who's the actor who played Davy Jones in Pirates of the Caribbean?
Davy Jones.
Awesomeness.
He also played the head vampire in Underworld, and the only reason I could tell the difference is because he did the part where he snatches his jaw all the time.
Yeah,
He
'cause
did that. That was the only difference I could tell.
Yeah, it's like a perfect example. It's a personal touch that is unique to that actor. Is that thing. Now, alone by itself, it looks like I have Tourette's. But with that character, it makes him so menacing because he's like, say yes, and like it makes him extremely menacing. So figure out little touches that can make your character even more menacing or whatever you're trying to go for your character, which leads into my next point, figuring out what your character's purpose is. Purpose is the greatest thing behind a character. What is driving the character to do what he is doing? What is his purpose? Okay, so let's go back to Lord of the Rings. Frodo's purpose was
Destroy the ring.
destroy the ring. So with that, so you have his purpose. You have this big, huge task on this itty-bitty little thing. So obviously, what does that make Frodo? It makes him timid because he's challenging the world on his own with nothing but his possibly homosexual best friend. If I was taking on that kind of, okay, so we're gonna take on all kinds of dangerous things, but all I got is a homo. Oh, I would be skirting around stuff like, Samwise, are you there, Samwise? Are you there? Are you there, Samwise? Go away. I would be extremely scared, and so.
I'm getting mesmerized by Boggs too, and falling.
So, finding purpose in your character. So, all of these things is just the starting point of a character. And as you progress and you do the character in whether it is a play or a movie, as you progress, it's more and more it's going to become a part of you, which comes to like a thing in method acting where they say, oh, you get really consumed in a character, you can commit suicide like Heath Ledger. That is completely false.
Heath Ledger was on drugs.
Heath Ledger was on drugs. Black Swan, yeah, that's another thing too. The only way you will ever be consumed by a character is if you already have pre-existing mental conditions. And usually it's because you have split personality disorder, so you're talking to yourself like the Spanish things inside my head tell me I should kill you. But I will say this though, you will get consumed in the emotion of a character. I was doing a piece while I was in high school, and it was about a dad who, and this is where the characterization. So I was a dad who had a child. There's my purpose. I love my child. That's my purpose. I love my child. But my child got killed by another teenager. He was in a car accident. So there's the conflict. I have emotions against that teenager. I do not like him. And so as it progresses in the story, I am retelling the death of my child. So there's the progression. So you have point A, which is you're retelling it's the 1 year anniversary of your child dying, and you're trying to get to point B, which is that climax where you're upset about what happened. But you got to get to point A to point B. So that progression, the backstory, all that emotion, you start thinking about it and you start developing into it, and then you will start feeling it. And I'm going to tell you right now, I was like depressed for like 30 minutes after every time I did this piece. I was sitting there like, oh my God, the world sucks. But it won't cause you to kill yourself because 30 minutes later you'll be like, oh right, I'm back to my normal self.
So let's talk about the overall process. We're kind of doing an overview. Let's kind of get in the nitty-gritty right now and talk about the process of characterization. First thing, obviously, you're going to get the script. What are you going to do with the script? Read it. You're going to read it.
It's going to scan through and just pick certain words.
Because you know there's a cushion or something. Did I just write skit?
Now a lot of times you'll run into, especially with commercial work, when you start out as an actor and you start doing commercial work, there's going to be a lot of times you're going to run into, and the script is going to be very generic. Like words like, hey buddy. So it's really hard to get a backstory to that. So that's where you get creative license. This last audition that me and him did, actually, we auditioned for a film for the Army where we were going to go and pretend to be sergeants. Well, the script.
Sergeants? Screw you, I was a lieutenant.
Whatever, man.
I was the only officer on set. It was cool.
Yeah, his hilarious little side note about that, his first rank was Ranger. And if you know anything about the Army Rangers, they are big, massive dudes. And that has
They're
That have
hardcore.
been to hell and back. My brother has been to Iraq twice and he's a Ranger.
My brother
And
is
so,
right now.
on top of that, we did this film with actual soldiers. So they're all looking at his rank like,
Meanwhile, I'm dropping my gun.
so...
I would love
What
to
was
see
I
that
talking about? Character. Okay, so you're gonna read the script, and it's gonna be all these generic lines, and there's no way to develop a backstory. So what you have to do is you have to start comparing lines. Like, what could possibly? Is there music going on? What could possibly be happening at this point in time? And so that's where your characterization comes in. You start building a story. You start thinking about it. Like, what could possibly go on? And I'm gonna tell you right now, in that audition, I had the scene completely wrong. I went in there and did that audition, and they're like, that's not what's going on here. He's a piece of white trash, and he's trying to get out of trouble. And I was like, oh. Go ahead.
Okay, character breakdown. I like to call it the 9 points of reality. Now, the 9 points of reality starts off with, first of all, motivation. Now, most of you, whenever you get started off, you're going to be getting started off in, we're talking film right now. We'll talk about theater in just a second. His background's in theater, my background's in film.
Mine's in film. Mine's in film.
Oh, is it?
Not really. I'm just
Theater, honestly, like improv, I'm totally down for, but theater scares the ever-loving crap out of me. I don't know why.
But
I
anyway.
think it has something to do with memorization.
Yeah, there's some.
Okay, so anyway, your motivation. Now, when you have you're going to start off in TV commercials. You can also start off in short films, which if you're looking for auditions for stuff like this, just hit up your local colleges. I know Tulsa University has a great film program. If you live down in Oklahoma City, we have Oklahoma City Community College.
Tulsa Community College.
Tulsa Community College is
Yeah,
also a good
TCC.
school. Oh, Triple C down in Oklahoma City, they've got the producer of Apocalypse Now and screenwriter. They've got a screenwriter named Greg Mlott that has done a lot of Jackie Chan films and stuff like that. We've got an awesome staff. And the guys are super, super cool. And if you're ever interested in film, go down there. They also have OCU, which they've got the director of Children of the Corn. He's really nice. But anyway, so get started off in your short films. You're going to break it down scene by scene by scene. Your motivation is going to be based on every single scene because, again, every single person. This is where we start getting into a little bit of psychology because every single action that you make, this has nothing to do with acting. This is real life. You don't make an action or decision without a motivation. That's just simple. There's always a reason behind something that you do. Have you ever done something and been like, oh, why did I do that?
Yes.
Have you ever? Were you drunk?
No, I was sober. I'm like,
I have.
why did I just do that? I didn't.
Have you?
Oh, because
Maybe I'm
sitting
drunk.
there like, oh, I should do this.
You're in a room full of ADD people.
Don't walk,
If not on the conscious level, then on the subconscious level, there is a motivation behind it.
OCD.
OCD? Is my handwriting okay for you?
It's fine. Yes. Usually I would put it on a projector and have a nice little screen there on this.
You need some wine out.
Right? The next thing that you want to make a note of is what's the goal of the character in every single scene. Yes. Come on in. Join the
goals-
crowd.
And the goals don't have to be
Come on
super
in.
complicated. Like in some scenes where like your character, all he has to do is try to get from point A to point B, like, oh, I've got to go to the bathroom. That's all your character does. I've got to go to the bathroom. So your goal is to go to the bathroom. But your friends keep interrupting you, so you like, so it's gonna, I always resort to comedy because that's like my special lean there. So like you're going to the bathroom and you're like, friends keep interrupting, oh God. So there's your character because your motivation is I've got to poop. Your goal is to get to the bathroom, and the conflict is your friend's getting in your way. So you're like, okay, slap him, and you're in the bathroom. There's a character scene development. Your character has depth, like, oh, I don't care about anyone except for pooping in that bathroom.
Extremely technical.
I'm sorry.
Right, which leads us to our next point, what came before. The thing that, it's amazing how many people, whenever they go into to auditions or even people who get cast into stuff, they don't consider what comes before. What they look at is the overall character. Well, the overall character is not an overall character without a past. People aren't born 25 years old and a fully mature adult. Even though 25 is not exactly a mature adult nowadays.
I know, right?
Everybody has a past. Everybody. Your psychology is made up by layers. For instance, I had a little bit of twitch. And that twitch is because of a little thing that happened when I was about 5 years old. I used to be self-conscious about my eyes. I don't know if you know. I got 2 different colored eyes because of something that happened whenever I was really young. And so, what came before is what makes the character. Does that make sense?
Is everybody following us so far?
Yes. So, like
Perfect.
one brown
No?
eye,
Negative?
except like one of the eyes was.
Okay, so next
No.
thing.
Or, like,
What are you not getting?
I can't remember her last name. This one's brown, this one's green brown.
Oh, okay.
Well, but mine. Yeah, yours are like
on, like,
hers.
the main
There was
points.
a Helena. She was a grade above us. She had different
Relationship
colored eyes.
substitution. This is where we kind of start to step into the land of method. Does anybody know what method is?
Has anybody ever heard of method acting?
Stanislavski? Yes.
Okay.
What's method?
Method acting is always staying in your character, never breaking it, whether you're in or out.
Yeah, that's one part of it. It's definitely a big part of it. The main part of method acting is you put yourself, you put your own personal past, you put your own personal experiences into the character, which you should honestly be doing anyway. That's a big part of characterization.
Is it plug-in?
Method actors, if it's a cup that's supposed to be full of Jack Daniels, for instance, it's going to be full of Jack Daniels. It's not going to be full of Coke watered down. It's going to be like a little